Hello, everyone. This is Whitney Will from Star Hearth Astrology, and this is my video about the Virgo full moon, which will perfect very late at night, very early in the morning on February 27th of 2021. This energy will be, we can feel it now in the days leading up to it, and it will affect at least the next 2 weeks and in a larger storyline. The next 5.5 months or so until it winds down at the Virgo new moon that will happen in September. So the theme of this Virgo new moon that came up for me when I was looking at the chart was really the pressure to have figured it all out. I think there's a few things at play here going on in all of our lives. And feeling, I think the Saturn-Uranus square, which I've talked about a lot and all the other astrologers have talked about a lot, was really, there's a number of things we can point to that looks like that, but I think is really hitting a kind of inner soul fatigue wall of just these kind of really intense moments where you just come up against the wall, which I feel like we've encountered so many of these in the past year of pandemic and lockdowns and restrictions and fighting those restrictions, whatever side of the political sphere you fall on. There's just kind of this wall. And now I feel like some of us are kind of like slumped over asleep against the wall. It's kind of propping us up, but not in a comfortable way at all. And so what I'm feeling with this full moon is really this pressure to have figured it out, right? We feel this pressure to have figured out how to do quarantine, how to do lockdowns, how to be working from home, or how to be straddling the difference when we're not. We're feeling this pressure for our nervous systems to have adjusted to how crazy it is, and to really be like, oh, okay, I mean, we've been doing this for so long. I need to know how to do this, and I need to know what to do now. And it's just hard because, right, we're coming into spring, we're looking ahead at the new year, the energy is picking up in terms of there being more light in the northern hemisphere. And yet, in many ways, things feel more uncertain than they have ever felt. There's a way in which, right, a Virgo full moon wants to look towards the future and map all the steps to get from A to B, to bring everything in alignment with its goals, whatever. And no dice. Can't do it. And so there's this kind of desire to find security in the place of plans, and in the sense that, right, some things are in control because we've figured out how to do this, even though we're kind of in chaos. And it's just not there. And so there's this tremendous amount of tension in the full moon for that. Then the full moon, kind of blessedly, trines Uranus. And so this is a full moon that, while Saturn still holds sway, for sure, it is in more of good graces with Uranus. And so I think where that kind of offers a door in the wall of stuckness is really in remembering that Virgo is an earth sign. Remembering that maybe, It may be the most cerebral, mercurial earth sign, but it is still connected to the earth. It is still focused on healing through understanding. And Uranus can give us a lot of good insights for a lot of good ideas for coming into new ways of understanding ourselves. And in Taurus, I feel like what its big message has been is to listen to the body, and on a cultural level, and maybe on a personal level, listen to the natural world. It's our connections with the physically solid things outside of us and the natural world that is really offering insight. And so, if we can kind of lean into that as a source, first of all, hopefully it'll calm down our frayed nervous systems. Maybe not calm down, but give them something grounded to focus on, to chew on, even if they're getting their minds blown by Uranus, right? It's really about exposing yourself to the full experience of embodiment. I'm going to put that piece down for a second and we'll come back and pick it up once I've kind of spoken on a few other things. So the moon is in Virgo, which is ruled by Mercury. The sun is in Pisces, which is ruled by Jupiter. And Jupiter and Mercury right now are approaching a conjunction. So Mercury is going to move right on top of Jupiter. So we've got Mercury, thankfully, direct now, picking up speed. It's now 2 degrees off of its station degree. So it's stationed at 11 degrees on February 20th. Now we're a week later and it's starting to move again. So it's moving towards a conjunction with Jupiter, and that will be its 3rd conjunction. And so these kind of big ideas happening. And so, right, this will be the 3rd conjunction. So it did it once when it was going forward in the pre-shadow of the retrograde, then it retrograded back over, reconsidered those ideas, and now is moving forward again, is ready to give birth to their final forms. And what I feel really powerfully in this conjunction and in what's coming in, and this is important because these are the rulers of this full moon, is this raw kind of visionary energy coming into all of our lives through this conjunction as kind of heralded by this full moon. So there's a crisis in the full moon, right? It's the maximum tension between 2 polarities, right? And often, if we can hold that tension without it tearing us apart and ripping us apart, then we end up with something entirely new, which in Jungian theory is called the transcendent third. So we're giving birth to the transcendent third, and Mercury and Jupiter are there ready to do it together, right? Mercury with all the tiny pieces, Jupiter with the grandiose ideas. They're going to come together in Aquarius, Saturn sign, co-present with Saturn because Saturn is also in Aquarius, with a really possibly very innovative solution or vision for what is being created. Now, these ideas, right, because this is a full moon and not so much a new moon, we are harvesting, not seeding. We have the chance to come to terms with the effects of some kind of culmination. So when I think full moons, I think hopefully some kind of celebration. I think it's really important at full moons, in all of that tension, to recognize our successes so that the waning cycle doesn't feel like so harsh of a come down. Sometimes I think it can feel like that. It's a way in which we kind of owe it to the full moon to celebrate successes. And so if you can think back to where you were, September 7th, I think, was the Virgo new moon, and all the things that were kind of percolating or working on or coming up, and just turn around for a second and look back on the road that you came in on and realize the distance that you've crossed, the stories that you've had, what you've lost, what you've forgiven, how you've been able to change. And then offer yourself the knowledge and the trust that you are just as capable now as you were all along the path so far. And so this tremendous pressure to have figured it out will happen one step at a time. Virgo can see the ideal, and it's so clear to them. They feel like they should be able to reach it if they can just fix this one piece, just be better, just be more patient, just the slow whittling away of themselves towards an ideal. The magic of Virgo is that you only get better when you paradoxically accept everything that is. When you realize that you are just running along the figure eight of infinity, and that no matter how far you go, you will still have an infinite distance in front of you and behind you. And so then the goal is deprioritized, and instead it's the practice. It's the practice of finding routines that have their heart in the right place, but also sustain you. So Virgo is willing to self-sacrifice, but that's not the point. If you self-sacrifice too much, eventually there's nothing left of you and you can't do anything. So it's not sustainable. If you work to put yourself in harmony with the world as it moves in a way that sustains it and sustains you, that's the magic. And it may be humdrum daily pedestrian magic. But for Virgo, God is in the details, in the humdrum daily practice of small things. It's not really about anybody else noticing. It's about coming to a feeling of wholeness within yourself. And letting go. So part of that sustainability piece is not taking on every single thing, not forcing yourself to finish every single thing, not making everything perfect, right? It's choosing a few things that matter a great deal and then forgiving and letting go of all the rest. And if you do that, the world around you, the context of the things and the people that you love and you serve, will move you along, and you don't have to be so conscious of where you're heading and trying so hard. I think Virgo, once they get in this mode of trying, it's never going to be enough. It's an insatiable place for Virgoan planets, for Virgoan people, for Virgoan placements, for a full moon in Virgo. It cannot be so goal oriented, or it will exhaust itself and then crumble into self loathing. It's got to be the cultivation of practice, of, and that can look like anything. This is not like you need to go on a silent retreat once a month for your whole life, right? It can be anything that you do with intention. There's a lot of Virgo magic in the hands, and Virgo rules our intestines, so how we digest things. And so, right, preparing yourself food that both nourishes your emotional body and your physical body, that is some Virgo magic. Preparing others' food like that. It does not, right? Where Virgo gets it wrong is in the kind of super restrictive place of nourishment, in denying itself nourishment, in being obsessed about being worthy of food or of nourishment or of enjoyment of life. Because once you start worrying about deserving, you're never going to figure it out. You have to kind of hit on to the truth that you exist at all. And so you are fundamentally worthy at some level, and go down to that level and build a little house there and just spend some time there. Not in this place of earning your worthiness, but in that you are worthy. I'm thinking now of the quotation from Khalil Gibran's in The Prophet, in the section on giving. Towards the end, he says, "Some of you say that you would give, but only to the deserving." And I would say, "The trees in your orchard say not so, nor the sheep in your flock. They give that they may live, for to withhold is to perish." And so I think, right, when we're worrying about whether what we deserve and what we're worthy of, we are resisting being a participant. He goes on to say, "And you receivers, and you all are receivers, take on no burden of gratitude." Something I kind of forget, but then the very end is, "For in truth, it is life giving to life, and you who deem yourself a giver are but the vehicle." So there's this way in which, when we offer each other nurturance, or the Virgo gift, healing, when we resist receiving or resist giving, that is from a place of kind of an overly critical super ego that is not letting us participate in life. No one was made any better through denial, through exclusion, right? I'm not saying that, fasting and these kind of rituals of watching and moderating what we consume, obviously that can come from a healthy place and be a really powerful practice. This is about when you deny yourself the goodness of life, the emotional nurturance of life, the pleasure of food, that it locks you up. And so if you can make one offering on the threshold of the Virgo full moon, gets dropped down out of your head, come into your body, take a few moments, listen really, really well to the medicine that it's craving. Do you need to say something to someone? Do you need to eat something? Do you need to take some time and just read or listen to music or dance around your kitchen or, whatever? Not from this place of, I am a performer and I need to have figured out how to do this so that I can have mastered this, but the space of reverence for all the parts of you that work together, and how to make that a more harmonious, nourishing experience for yourself. And that's what I have to say about the Virgo full moon. The pressure to figure it out and the grace of accepting where you are. I hope it is rich and lovely for you. I hope you find peace, moments of peace in the intense full moon energy. And I wish you well. I also wanted to announce that I have a really, really special workshop coming up. It is a circular weaving workshop that will be held in a month on the Libra full moon. So I've teamed up with a fiber artist, Trudy Perry, and I will link her website in the description in case you want to check out some of her work. And so basically she makes these gorgeous circular weavings. And I thought it would be really wonderful if we did a workshop with her to weave for the Libra full moon. I will also link my description for the workshop on my website with instructions on how to sign up, but I think it'll be a really great thing. So I'll be doing a live talk during the workshop about the Libra full moon. We'll be talking about creativity and the importance of ritual in our lives. But we also have this really beautiful opportunity to get into our hands, connect with fiber, using kind of an astrology community, and making a physical adornment for our spaces as a way of grounding in the moment, and honoring the full moon. So I'd love to have you there. Signups are due by March 20th because we have to ship out the kits. It's a virtual workshop on Zoom. And so Trudy will send out all the supplies that you need for it by March 20th. And I really, really hope to see you there because I think it'll be really fun. And I really love bringing astrology together with non-astrological things to kind of get us out of our heads and into our hearts and into our hands, like the good Waldorf student that I am. Okay, be well.